Hey guys, welcome. Welcome aboard. Welcome home. Welcome back. As always, completely and totally dependent upon where you happen to be in relation to this channel, these messages, this energy, this week, all of the above. This is the week of Monday, the 24th of April through the 30th of April, 2023. So let's kind of orient, right? We are coming off of a week of, big, exciting shifts, right? And so, well, you know what? Let's just get into this week. It's fine. So we start with the Gemini moon, and we have some aspects, sextiles to the sun and Jupiter, square to Neptune. And then the moon moves into Cancer. We've got a quincunx to Pluto, a sextile to the sun, and then a trine to Saturn. So here's the deal. The sun is conjunct the north node, right? Sextiling Saturn. And Mars is sextiling Mercury, which is, of course, in retrograde. And the moon is squaring Neptune. So here's the deal. This is a day that has a lot to do with inner peace, right? And how you conjure that for yourself, right? How you provide it, how your capacity is to soothe and self-soothe, right? It's about what you do. And your expanded heart is really kind of attuned to that capacity of your soul. At all the places that you believe you've gone as deeply as you're able, you may find an opportunity or an ability today to reevaluate, because the fact is there's always more available than you believe there to be. So explore it, and trust it, and most importantly, know that you are safe, right? Resist that urge to kind of crumble into yourself, or to guard, or to throw up your defenses, right? Be available to whatever shows up. On Tuesday, the 25th, the Taurus sun sextiles Saturn. The moon in Cancer sextiles Mercury in retrograde. Venus in Gemini sextiles Chiron. And then the moon conjuncts Mars and squares Chiron. So here's the deal. Your new story. We're going to be talking a lot about your new story this week. Hello, we see you. Very exciting. Your new story about home, right? And when we talk about home, we know that we're talking about that Venus energy, that 3D love, the way that you manifest and create your environment, your experience. So what home smells like, tastes like, sounds like, looks like, and that is always self-reflexive, only to you. You are the only person that can define that for yourself. So your new story about home deserves some more airplay. So let that come up. Let it come through. The key is mind your language, because it really matters. Also, mind your habits, and make very certain that you're being heart-centered when it comes to your actions and your expressions. All of the ways that you allow yourself to be vulnerable will be met, right, and sourced in that new story. So how we talked about trusting it on Monday, it's really about opening to it on Tuesday in kind of newer, more exciting ways, right? On Wednesday, the beautiful Cancer moon sextiles Uranus and Taurus, squares Jupiter, and trines Neptune. The key to amplification is always going to be about your willingness to shift. And as this new information is arriving, your openness is the thing that creates your flexibility, your resilience to what is coming, right? The more rigid that you are, the more challenged you will be as all of this new opportunity comes your way. And we know, right, that Mercury is retrograding in Taurus, and so you're being asked and given that opportunity to really be aware of what it is that you've been building with, right? Taurus is that sign of building, how we create our foundations, how we resource ourselves. So understanding that rigidity is not really going to create fertile ground when it comes to the change and flow of life in general. So understand that within your own heart and soul, and you will not require that external validation, right? You look for it externally, though, and what you end up being is always lost to the merciless whims of other people's illusions, right? So as long as you're coming back to your own alignment over and over and over, you're always going to be in your own alignment. And that sounds so simple, but it's true. However, if you attach yourself to someone else's alignment, you're constantly having to shift perspective so that you can maintain that kind of, I'm going to call it misaligned state, even though you believe consciously that it is an alignment. Your nervous system, your soul, your heart is not in alignment with that. And so you are then always at that merciless, whim of other people's illusions. On Thursday, the 27th, the moon moves into Leo right after the date shifts. And then the Leo moon is going to oppose Pluto. Mars in Cancer will square Chiron, and then the moon quincunxes Saturn and squares the sun. So this very exciting T-square that we have. The moon and Pluto, right, squaring both the sun and the north node, and also Mars squaring Chiron. Here's the deal. Keep your ego in check. Right? We know that ego is not a terrible thing. Ego is simply your interface, right, with this 3D world. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You have to have that point of reality. But keeping it in check is important. So keep your ego in check and do not stoop, right? Do not step down. You may You may be apt to be very reactive on Thursday, and what you say or do might, if it's from that reactive place, it may very well have some long-term consequences. So if you can find a way to be the master of your new story, to put it into motion, to put it into application, to allow it to become who and what you are in the now, you will save yourself perhaps some karmic echoes and things that you will need to walk back later, right? Nobody wants to do that. So just be mindful. Just be mindful of the places that you could be reactive, and perhaps instead choose to be responsive, right? Always a choice. Always in line with your capacity. So if you have to take a breath, take a breath. It's okay. That can be your new story, right? I am the person who practices the pause. It's a real thing. On Friday, the 28th, the Leo moon is busy, right? We square Mercury in retrograde. We square Uranus. We trine Chiron and sextile Venus. So the challenge of Friday is communication. So stay in your aligned story, right? Stay in your foundation, and whatever that feels like and looks like for you in terms of that sense of home, right? So being open to new information is a real theme as the sun is conjunct to the north node. You're not only defining yourself, but your destiny, and through that definition, you're also creating your sense of identity in relation to your destiny, right? In the evening, really be mindful of that sense of home and what that means to you, how it shapes you, and how it is shaped by you, how it is created by you, and how it creates you, how it is lived by you, and how it lives as you, right? How it embodies you and how you embody it. So be really mindful of that beautiful sense of home. Oh, thank you. On Saturday, the 29th, the Leo moon will trine Jupiter, quincunx Neptune, and then she will move into Virgo. And as that Virgo moon quincunxes Pluto, and then Mars in Cancer sextiles Uranus. So here's the deal. Challenge your own illusions, right? What is it that you're amplifying, right? What is it actually that you're amplifying, right? I can always be an amplification of something, but make sure that you know what that is. And the moon moves into Virgo about 2 p.m. Central Time. So as the moon moves into Virgo, really understand that those illusions might be, it might be in your best interest to forgive those illusions, right? As you have done that work and witnessed, oh, wow, okay, I've been doing this thing or thinking this thing or embodying this thing, and it might not have been actually true. So here's the deal. They may be best forgiven so that you can self-determine, right? And this is always the key, to be able to come into and determine your own trajectory, which is always, you know, about driving your own bus, instead of climbing aboard that hamster wheel of self-criticism, which is pretty much always and often very futile, right? It doesn't really get us anywhere except chasing our tail. So the key on Saturday is when you have a presentation of something that needs to be shifted or changed or adapted to in your own beingness, doingness, thinkingness, just allow that change and then be done with it, right? Don't go back and hash and rehash, right? We're in Mercury retrograde, so it's check, triple check, not hash, rehash, right? The key is let it go and move along. On Sunday, the 30th of April, which also happens to be my youngest son's birthday. Yeah, there we go. The Virgo moon opposes Saturn, trines the sun, and trines Mercury, of course, in retrograde. So here's the deal. Whatever you choose as you're getting shit done for the day, alrighty then. Be certain that it is an expression of your own personal joy, right? As yourself. So, in other words, make sure that what you're doing is a thing that makes you happy, right? That blend of self-expression and yourself can can strike some new harmonics, insert some new frequencies into your story. Wow. Okay. That is probably always a good thing, right? We really want to create mindfully, not just create from our joy, but create something that adds to our joy, right? And so as we come upon those new things, make sure that you're balancing them out, right? Those releases, those required shiftings. Make sure that you're adding things that bring you joy, right? Or releasing things that don't, in an effort to create that expression of you that is joy-filled, right? And the key here is this takes us through the end of April. I kind of want to talk about May here because there's a whole lot going on in May. It's very exciting. On the 1st, right, we're coming up on Beltane, and Pluto is going retrograde, and the Sun is going to conjunct retrograding Taurus, or Mercury in Taurus. On the 5th, we have a full moon at 14 degrees Scorpio. Now, this is exactly opposed to our 15-degree Taurus point where Mercury went retrograde, right? On the 7th, Venus is going to move into Cancer, which is going to create a very different experience than Venus and Gemini. On the 14th, Mercury will go direct, right, at 5 degrees of Taurus. And on the 16th, Jupiter is going to move into Taurus. Now, very exciting. On the 20th, Mars will move into Leo. And then on the 21st, the Sun will move into Gemini. Now, that's a big bunch of energetic shiftings from planets that don't always shift signs all of the time. So the key here is that we want to really get this new story solidified. Really? That's not how it works around here. As we go through this last week of April, make sure that you're really shifting into your story. Ooh. Right, I like that. I have something to say about this guy. All right, let's get on it, shall we? Ooh. On Monday, we've got the Emperor, we have the Page, or the Three of Pentacles, I'm so sorry. So the Emperor is this divine masculine energy, right? But there's a little bit of hesitation with the Emperor. He kind of has that tendency to move toward mastery as opposed to embodiment, right? Which is one of the strategies of kings in the world. And then we have the Three of Pentacles. This is about collaboration. This is about how you work together, right? So we talked about this as that day where the Sun conjuncts the North Node and then sextiles Saturn, right? And Mars is going to sextile Mercury in retrograde. We talked about inner peace, right? And really expanding your heart to be attuned to that capacity of your soul, right? In all the places that you believe you've gone as deep as you can go, reevaluate. Trust it. Know that you're safe to do that explorative work, right? Don't be afraid to dig in. And if you need assistance, I guarantee you that you can find some assistance somewhere. So make sure that you trust it. Make sure that you understand how safe you are as you do this work, right? The universe always wants you to succeed. On Tuesday, we've got the Hierophant and the Magician. So what a beautiful combination, first of all. Yeah, what a beautiful, wow, lots of majors. So this is a gorgeous. So we have the Hierophant, which is, of course, all about tradition. This is all about our ancestral and genetic lineages. This is how we come in and are shaped by the information we're given. And then the Magician is, what do you do with that, right? So these are real world cards. This is showing up, right? This is Taurus season energy, 100%. So we talk about your new story about home deserves some airplay, right? Minding your habits and making sure that you're heart-centered when it comes to your actions and expressions, right? So make sure that all of the ways that you allow yourself to be vulnerable are met. And so here, this is the key to the Hierophant card is knowing that you have not only the capacity but the responsibility to question all of the stories that you've been given. And the magician says, yes, I have the power to do that, right? I understand that my elemental responsibility is to make sure that I'm telling my story, not the stories that were handed to me, right? Not the stories that were given, but the ones that I have weighed and measured against my own elemental beingness. So make sure that you're in your story. Make sure that you're the star of your story. Make sure that you are the writer of your story, and that you're not just retelling. I mean, even though we know that it's hard to find a new story these days, don't make it too hard for yourself. On Wednesday, we've got the Hanged Man and the Ace of Wands. How lovely is this, right? So the Hanged Man is about suspended animation, right? It's about taking a moment, allowing for divine intervention. It's about changing your perspective and being willing to upturn your viewpoint in order to explore something from a different angle, to make sure that it meets your alignment. And the Ace of Wands is the insertion of a new inspiring thought, something new, something that sparks your passion, right? This is the juice of life, right? And let's actually just take a minute to contemplate that without the Ace of Wands, you can't change your perspective, right? If we're going to talk about this tree as an Ace of Wands, which we can if we'd like to, this is how we're changing our perception, right? And so we talked about this as a day to really witness your own willingness to shift, right? And to be open, creating your own flexibility or resilience, and understand that how you come to that in your own soul creates your own experience, not looking for validation, right? And as you create it, you are no longer lost to the merciless whims of anyone else's illusions, right? We have gathered our own data and we have weighed it against our own soul. No matter what perspective we had to choose, right? We had to choose whatever perspective worked best for us. So tell that story however you want it. On Thursday, we've got the Six of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. The Six of Cups is that unconditional love card, right? This is how you meet yourself in the purest, in the most unconditional, in the most open-hearted way. And the Ace of Pentacles creates a new opportunity for you to really resource yourself and accept the fact that this is your game plan. Right? This is your opportunity. You know what it feels like to show up in and as love. And the Ace of Pentacles says, hey, go ahead. Nobody's asking you not to, right? Except for yourself. So we talked about this as that day to keep your ego in check and not to resist every opportunity to stoop down or step down, right? Not to be reactive, to stay in this unconditional love, right? And to witness that you are the master of your new story. How you embody is absolutely up to you. How you put that into motion, how you put it into application, this new story, being in the now, right? Because when you're being as love, all you can be is in the now. When you say yes to that new opportunity to show up as yourself, the beautiful self that you're here to be, yes, please, on Friday. So we have the Page of Pentacles and the Five of Wands. So Page of Pentacles is that card of new information, right? New ways to resource yourself, something coming at you, right? Pages of Pentacles are quite often opportunists. But they bring with them a new insight, right, into how to best resource yourself. Five of Wands is a card it's a card of posturing, right? Nobody's actually doing anything, but they want to look like they are. So we have a day where there might be some new information coming at you. However, you might be guarded against it, right? You might be in like that, no thank you. I think I already know what I'm doing. However, right, we talked about this as a day when communication feels challenged, right? And if you're going to stay in your alignment, if you're going to stay in your new story, you have to be open to new information, especially as the sun is conjuncting the North Node. You are not only defining yourself, but your destiny through the way that you define your own identity, right? Whatever home means to you, and how you are shaped by it and it shapes you. Don't put up those barriers to new information. Stay open, right? Stay open, because new things might be coming at you. And if you put up the wall, they can never get in. On Saturday, we have the Page of Wands. So again, more information coming at us, right? This is inspiring information. This is passionate information. This is information that might motivate you in a certain way. And the Eight of Cups is about how you're walking away from something that is not fulfilling to you. And so we talked about this as being a day where you're going to challenge your own illusions, right? As you see new things in your field, what are you going to walk away from? What are you going to witness that you're amplifying, right? Those illusions, again, we talked about forgiving those illusions so that you're not carrying them with you, so that you're not hauling around this baggage, right? The Eight of Cups requires you to move away from things that are not fulfilling, but it also requires that you leave things behind. So make sure that you are self-determining your trajectory instead of climbing aboard a hamster wheel, right? We don't want to do that. You don't want to carry that self-criticism with you, right? This is choose and then be done. If you're going to move away from something, move away from it fully and totally, right? Thank it, let it go. Take the lesson, not the baggage. On Sunday, the 30th, we have the Chariot and the Page of Cups. Okay, lovely. The Chariot is all about balanced forward motion, right? So we have those two horses and we have to steer with love and logic, head and heart, right? Otherwise, we're going to veer off to one side or the other. The Page of Cups, this is all about what is going to fulfill you. What are you moving toward? And how do you tell, right? How do you tell? What is bringing you joy? What is bringing you satisfaction? What is bringing you contentment? What's moving you toward your own sense of bliss, right? Because we know, right, that the sky has always got us covered. The universe always has us covered. If only we align with our heart, we always know the direction to go innately. And so we talked about this as being a day to choose whatever it is that's going to bring you joy, whatever it's going to bring you bliss, and allow for those new frequencies to come into your story, to bring you that new harmonic that may invite you in a new direction, a new way, right? It might give you that integrative balance that you're looking for. So being mindful of all of those things. How do we know that? Who do you love? Who loves you, right? These are questions only you can answer, right? Just like that sense of home, just like that sense of home. The key is that no matter what, you're always coming back to your own alignment every single time, and knowing that that you're the only one that can do that. Now, this Moon Mansion card, Rebel, right? We've got Uranus, we've got Mercury at the bottom. Right, and we have these beautiful degrees of Aquarius in here, so I love it. Okay, so Uranus and Mercury conjoined in Aquarius produce an aspect that cares very little for rules and tradition. Okay, we know that. This card reveals that traditional ideas and old-fashioned views that have outlived their usefulness must be revised and updated. It is essential for the sake of progress to find new ways of looking at things and new ways of working, right? This falls squarely into our Hanged Man category here. If this card is drawn, there is the potential for exceptionally bright thinking that produces sparks of genius. It indicates a powerful devotion to a cause. You are certain that your position is correct no matter how out on a limb you might seem to others. You must be prepared to act totally out of character to achieve your intended aims. So again, we talk about really understanding that the way to create your now, your new story, is to always be in alignment and to not worry about what anyone else has to bring to the table. We're not at the whims of other people's illusions. We're not even at the whim of our own illusion if we are in alignment with what our heart desires, with what our heart's sense of home is all about. We can be the master of our new story every single time, right? And so here I would really, I'm loving this card here. Hold on just a minute. Let me get to the right page. Oh, thank you. Opened right up. So this to me, before we even talk about it, right? The blade is how we cut away anything that is not in service. So let's see what this has to say. The blade represents sharpness of the mind, body, and spirit. The blade can be a healing tool or a weapon. Wield it wisely, and it will transmit power, bestow initiations, cut energetic cords from the past, and sever toxic relationships. And remember, toxic is just another word for unhealed, so don't read anything into that. Use it with anger, and it will slash, stab, and kill, right? You are invited to draw your blade and use it. It is not auspicious to hesitate, to waste time in idle talk, or to hide from the inevitable. Heaven and earth are aligned to support you in claiming your power, so take decisive action, right? The universe is always in support of you. Overcome your fear, unsheath the blade, and use it wisely. It's time to put down the sword and place it back in its scabbard. Do not offer your blade in service to unhealed emotion. You'll be faced with an even more disagreeable future with people or situations you are attempting to banish. Put the blade to rest until your inner fire has mellowed, and then use your blade with impeccable intention to cut the energetic cords that are tying you to the drama at hand. Set yourself free, right? We talked about this as not stepping into the pools of self-criticism, right? Change and be done with it, right? The word decide means to cut away from. This blade is how you do that. No matter what, right? You follow your heart no matter what. You find your truth no matter what. You find your alignment and tell your story no matter what. You put down everything and you do not say no, right? We have 2 aces and a whole lot of majors. We're not saying no to these energies. We're welcoming them, right? No matter how strange it feels, no matter what is happening as a new story, we want to welcome that because it is our story. We're telling it, right? Oh, big blessings. What a week. Yeah. Have fun out there. Take care.